Hey, Pat and Chris back for another episode of Shop Talk, where today we're again diving deep on the Ranger XD 1500. Chris, we've had a couple episodes now where we've talked about strength, we've talked about capability. What are we hammering on today?
Today is all about comfort. So this is the most comfortable UTV ever made, and we're going to show you why today. Now, in the first two episodes, we talked about brute strength and unprecedented capability. I want to focus today more on what makes this vehicle really comfortable. But some of those key elements of the chassis and the driveline really contribute to a comfortable ride. You want to start by maybe just recapping some of those, Pat, and how they contribute to being really comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, when we think about the underpinnings of this vehicle, right? We talked about that one-piece chassis, super stiff compared to old vehicles, lets the suspension really do its thing, right? We talked all about, did a deep dive on this all-new transmission technology that we've got on this machine, right? And just the ability to flip that thing into comfort mode, drop the engine revs down, and just creep along makes it really nice and quiet in the cockpit, right? I think some other things when we think suspension, right? We got those nice high clearance arms, gives you a lot of clearance. You're not worried about hitting things. You're not going to hear anything, as you're going down the trail and that type of thing too, right?
Yeah, ton of travel, really robust suspension, and there's a lot more that make it even more comfortable. Like we talked about in the steel drive transmission, that creep feature, being able to really dial in your low speed drivability. Boosted brakes, so you've got a really comfortable, consistent braking feel even if you're hauling a trailer. Ultra Turf, being able to really dial in your driveline. Like, you can go from the front of this vehicle all the way to the back of the vehicle. We were thinking about comfort. We spent a lot of time in this vehicle while we were developing it. We are very picky as riders, and so there were a lot of refinements that we made. But this chassis really does, before we even get into all the features inside of the cab, just the chassis and the driveline itself deliver a really comfortable ride.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a couple other things too that we maybe haven't mentioned on yet. The first one of those is the steering system on this is actually new for Ranger. So when we launched the Polaris Expedition, and now with this XD 1500, we've actually got an integrated powered steering rack on these models. So not only is it still electronic assist, you actually get a little bit better behavior because the motor is mounted right to the steering rack assembly. And you might be able to see that if you run the camera right down in here. You can actually see the motor sitting right on top of the steering rack there inside of the vehicle. And as we think, we talked about how we designed this vehicle, really going after comfort. There's a couple acronyms or terms that get used often. The first one of those is NVH, which stands for noise, vibration, and harshness. And the other is BSR. And Chris, what's that one?
Buzzes, squeaks, and rattles. It's all the things that annoy you while you're driving a vehicle, and it is the stuff I'm very particular about. We hone in on every single one of those things. And NVH, BSR are two acronyms that everybody at Polaris knows really well, even though they probably sound like science fiction to you guys.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this XD 1500 is this machine was really designed from the ground up to have this integrated cab, to have it fully enclosed, right? So that we could try and drill all those sounds away. And we'll go through a lot more of the interior when we jump inside in a couple minutes.
Yeah, and like Pat talked about, this is the first vehicle that we really designed from the ground up with the expectation that it would have doors on it. So most of our vehicles in the past, we made a really solid chassis and then we built a cab system that could be added on later on. You can still do that with this vehicle, but we took the opposite approach and we developed a vehicle with the full doors, with the cab, and then we take it off for some models. You can see that through the whole side of the vehicle as you look at these integrated style lines, the flush doors, like we talked about on that capability episode, but really the next level in terms of premium exterior fit that you're going to get on a vehicle like this. It's really the next generation, and it's the best integrated vehicle overall. A couple other little things that I'll show off are right behind Pat, new 15-inch wheels on these vehicles. So we've got machined accent on the painted ones as well as black for the camo models.
Yep, we got that huge 5-lug pattern that we've seen now on some of the high-end Razors and the Polaris Expedition as well.
The other cool one on the exterior that's a little thing is we do a roof on every vehicle now. So obviously this one is a North Star, but even the vehicles that aren't a full cab with HVAC are also going to have that roof and liner from the factory.
Yeah, and I think the other one we got to head to the back, right? Got to talk about this cargo box and this new Lock and Ride Max system, right? We got the built-in rails on the box, right? We got this huge cargo box that we talked about. You can see integrated 1x4 post pockets that you can just drop some boards in, both on the sides and the front. You know, a lot of trick stuff going on in the back, and this box, I mean, it really is super capable, but it also makes it for a comfortable ride because you can carry everything you need to as you go on your adventures.
Yeah, so really solid base architecture with this vehicle, stiff chassis, the next generation in terms of driveline and powertrain. The exterior styling, the fit and finish is really the next level. It's something you've never seen in the industry before. What I'm excited to talk about though, Pat, is I think we've got a lot of stuff to cover on the interior. I mean, this thing is nice, it is fancy. I'm excited to hop in the cab, show you guys all the bells and whistles on this thing.
Absolutely, let's go.
All right, guys, now I'm super excited to walk you through a bunch of the different bells and whistles, comfort features, just everything about the interior and what makes the XD1500 awesome. So the very first feature I'll show you guys is as I'm opening up the doors, you'll notice that they open and they stay in specific positions. That's because we've actually got this new door check that has detented spots, which are actually spacers where the door sits. So that makes your door opening a lot smoother, makes it more contained, and ultimately it's just better overall fit and finish. The other thing that's really nice is we've got these full premium interior door panels. This accent is painted on the painted models. It's also hydro dipped in our camo pattern on the camo models. So if you get into one of these vehicles that's camo, the entire interior is going to be covered in that camo pattern. It looks really cool. The other thing, now that I've got the door open, that you guys will notice is the same reverse opening doors that you'd be really comfortable with on Ranger. They allow you to get in and out of the vehicle super fast. But the other thing that we did on this vehicle is really stretch the chassis out. So you get more leg room in this area, more room to swing your feet in and out, especially if you've got big boots on, and a lot of overall leg room. We also mentioned in a previous episode that we lowered the seat to floor height on this vehicle. So this seat, compared to where the floor is 2 inches lower than in an XP1000. That means that I'm sitting lower in the vehicle, but I've still got a lot of leg room as a taller guy, and I can stretch out. As a shorter person, you can also get even more comfortable because you can move, you know, and my knees start to hit the dash, but you can move way forward in this if you're a shorter person and reach those pedals. So a ton of adjustability in a way bigger, way more spacious cab. The other thing that's cool as we talk about adjustability is this steering wheel is not only an up and down tilt steering wheel like you're used to in our Rangers, but it's also got telescoping. So you flick this lever down here and you can move this steering wheel anywhere you need it to make it comfortable. And that's really awesome. You can kind of find your sweet spot, get it locked in exactly where you want, and it's going to make it as comfortable as possible, specifically for you. So a lot of great features that make this more ergonomic, more comfortable. The other one that I'll show you guys is, as I move over a little bit, these seats are the real deal. They are super comfortable. We tried out a lot of different foam thicknesses as well as materials to really optimize these for an off-road riding environment. Got these really nice bolsters that keep you locked in. They sort of grab the side of your body, and as you're going over off-road terrain, they keep you locked in. This material in the center has a lot of give to it, and it's also really grippy. This is a similar seat material that we've used on our snowmobiles and some other products, but it's got a lot of give and it's comfortable, but it also helps to keep you really planted in that seat solidly. So really comfortable seats. We know that these vehicles are going to get a lot of use and that people are going to spend more time in them, so put awesome seats in these vehicles. As I move back to the seat that I was sitting on, the other thing that's really cool that can make this vehicle more comfortable while you're riding in it is this flip down center console. I love this feature. We only ever ride 3 up in our Ranger if it's deer season, I've got my uncles in town or something like that. And most of the time it's just me alone in my Ranger or me and one other person. And that is where this center console is so nice. You can lean your elbow on it, whether you're riding or if you're just hanging out, like maybe you're taking a break while you're working on a project. Super comfortable place to be. Got a couple of extra cup holders where you can put a drink, Also got cool cell phone locations. So we cut out the middle of these cup holders so you can put your cell phone in there. I can also put my phone over here, but really nice place to just put a bunch of everyday items. Now, Eric, while you're here, let's talk about the cup holders down low as well. So if you've got your center console flipped up, you also get 2 cup holders down here. This is a common theme you guys will see all over on this vehicle. We've got cell phone spots all over. We're always looking for a place to put our phone, and so you're going to notice there's a bunch of comfortable spots like that. As we go up to the left side of the dash, we'll start with what's familiar. So you'll notice there's another slot to put your cell phone up there. This one's got a seal on it to keep your phone from vibrating so that it's quiet while it's riding up on the dash. The other thing you'll notice while you're up here, Eric, is this really nice looking JBL tweeter. We'll talk about that JBL system in just a minute, but it's awesome. So we talked about this drive mode selector switch in a previous episode. You go left to right to get through your comfort, standard, and sport modes. Push it in to get to tow haul. Then you've got your front differential and rear differential selector switch. That's how you can really tune in your ride characteristics, whether you've got your front and rear differentials locked and unlocked. Then we've got some electrical switches right below those. So this first switch on your left is going to control those auxiliary lights if the vehicle trim that you buy includes those auxiliary lights. The other one on the left side is the box dump. So we put this on that far left side so that you can dump your box while you're standing next to your vehicle as well as while you're inside of the vehicle. Next, as we move a little bit further to the right, this is your lighting selector switch. So this is going to control the front driving lights on the vehicle as well as some of the dark mode features that Pat showed you in our last episode. So if you go to this far left setting, this is our dark mode. You can see how it even blacks out the gauges, gets everything in the interior of the vehicle dim. It's going to essentially dim or turn off all the lights in the vehicles except for your tail lights, which you really need for people that are riding behind you. Second is just those accent lights. So this is those really cool looking accents that you see in the bottom of the LED headlights. It's kind of a mean look that doesn't provide a ton of lighting. Then pretty much what you're used to. You've got low beam and high beam, just where you'd expect them to be. Next, as we continue to move to the right, you'll notice the new color version of our dual sweep gauges. So this does have a speedometer and a tachometer that are the analog sweep style, as well as a new color center display. We showed you guys some of that in previous episodes. That's where you can tell what drive mode you're in, what driveline mode you're in, as well as get some of your key vehicle information. And that'll be customizable just like it is on a lot of other Polaris products. But really cool, nice looking gauge. Next, as we keep moving to the right, down here is where your neutral disconnect panel is. We talked about that in a previous episode, but that's how you access that, is down here. So the next feature that I'll show you guys is the Ride Command screen, which comes standard on this Northstar Ultimate version of the Ranger XD 1500. And when you get the Ride Command screen, it comes with our Ride Command Plus system, as well as our brand new JBL dash integrated audio system. So it's got our full Ride Command that you guys are used to with all of our navigation, safety, and connected rider features, as well as the infotainment that you get from audio through Bluetooth, AM/FM, and USB the way you're used to. As Pat was talking about in the beginning of the episode, and our previous episodes about the XD 1500, we've made this vehicle platform so comfortable and so quiet to ride in that this is the first vehicle where we've gotten to really focus on making that audio system sound great. We're not just trying to drown out engine noise. We're not just trying to get really loud so that we can overpower other sounds in the vehicle. Instead, we've got this really quiet, calm, peaceful cab and the best tuned, most sophisticated audio system we've ever had in any off-road product, tuned by our partners at JBL to really make that system shine. We put the tweeters up near the rider, pointing directly at the rider, as well as the lower woofers really close to the rider so that you can get that immersive sound experience. You can also upgrade this vehicle. If you want to add subwoofers behind the seat or rear speakers in the rear roof of the vehicle, you can upgrade it to get a fully immersive sound for you and your passengers. I won't talk too much about this JBL system. You guys have got to just get to a dealer and check it out. It's really awesome. I won't give you any more of a sales pitch than that. The other thing I mentioned is Ride Command Plus. So this has our connected capability where you can use your phone and our Ride Command app to keep tabs on your vehicle. If you check out the Polaris website and look at Ride Command Plus, you can see all the different features, but everything from being able to tell how much gas is in your vehicle, when your next maintenance intervals are due, things like that, just to give you some extra peace of mind. The other thing that really helps with comfort though is we've got a totally redesigned air conditioning system in this vehicle. So you'll notice that the HVAC control system is in the same place that you'd expect it to be in most Rangers, but there's an additional knob in this one. So that's pretty cool in that we've actually got a new mode selector switch with our air conditioning system. That means that you can turn your blower up to a really fast speed. You can control your temperature, whether or not your AC compressor is on, just like in a vehicle like you drive to work. But we've also added this new mode selector. So instead of going around your vehicle selecting which vents are open and which ones are shut, you can actually use this mode selector and you can decide, do I want the air to just point at my chest? Do I want my chest and my feet? Do I want to have the defroster on? It's all controlled with this mode selector. The other thing that can be really helpful that's new on this vehicle is we've got a recirculation mode. So if it's super dusty and hot where you're riding, this allows you to recycle some of that air from the cab, gain some efficiency, and keep that cab even cooler than some of our previous generation vehicles. Next, let's talk more switches. So there's 3 different switch panel locations that I'll talk about in this vehicle. This is the second one, which is your center stack area. If you look at these 4 buttons in the middle here, this is how you control your window switches. So we've got power windows, front and rear rows in this vehicle. They're all controlled from this center. You can also control the rear windows from the rear of the vehicle. We'll show you guys that a little bit later. This switch on the far left is your rear auxiliary power. So Pat talked about this in the previous episode, but this is that 12-volt outlet that's in your cargo box that allows you to run things like sprayers. You can control whether that sprayer is turned on or off right here from the cab. The next one here is your wiper control, so you can determine if your wiper's on and off. It's also got a spray nozzle, same as our other Northstar vehicles today. This one here is the winch. That one's pretty self-explanatory. I'd imagine most of you guys know what this switch does and how it works. And then lastly, this is the accessory light bar switch that we installed. So this one will not come from the factory on this vehicle, but we do leave one spot here so you can add an accessory light bar. Even more convenient features down here. This is a USB charge port, so if you need to plug in your phone, get it charged, things like that, you've got one of those down here. We also integrated a pretty traditional 12-volt outlet, or you might call it like a cigarette lighter style plug. We do keep those traditional outlets in these vehicles because we know a lot of you guys have older stuff that you need to power. So you still get that feature even though this is a really new vehicle. So a whole bunch going on in the center stack. You'll notice we've got every single location filled. Every single feature has been populated. And if you're thinking about this as you want to go accessorize a vehicle, don't worry too much because as you move up in the vehicle, we'll show you that there's an accessory switch panel up here with a bunch of open real estate that you can customize your vehicle with. So the last thing I'll show you here is pretty simple stuff, but we know it matters to you guys. We've got a pretty deep cup holder up here, a place to put your phone, car keys, stuff like that. This does have a seal on it, so it's a nice spot to keep your stuff out of the elements. We've got our winch remote up here, as well as some extra keys, which is maybe a good reminder for me. Another cool feature with the XT1500 is the key that you power your ignition with is going to unlock all 4 doors in this vehicle. So there's no more having a separate door lock and ignition key. If you've got one, you can unlock all of your doors as well as start your vehicle. And if you buy a crew, as you can tell, you get a bunch of spare keys. So you'll always have the right key for what you need to do. Pretty spacious glove box up there. We also have another glove box under here. This is where you're going to find stuff like your spare fuse kit, your manual, your little tool kit that comes from the factory, and there's more storage area under here. Similar to our other XP1000 products, this whole lower storage area is spaces where we integrate some accessory features. So on this vehicle, you're going to notice that it's got JBL speaker pods on the left and right down by your shins. We also have the heater core and HVAC system taking up some of this space in the middle. If you buy a Ranger XD 1500 Premium trim, all that area is going to be storage. So you'll get additional storage if you're not using up that accessory room with things like speakers or the air conditioning or heater system. So now I'll show you guys the storage under the passenger seat that's accessible from the driver's seat. So a really cool thing when you're using this vehicle is if you're sitting in here driving alone, got your flip down center console up, is you can flip up your storage right from the driver's seat, even with that door closed, and you've got good access to your storage here. That's cool. Seems pretty simple, right? The other thing that's cool though is if I had like Pat sitting next to me on this passenger seat, I can still get to that center storage through kind of a back door, which is cool. So Eric, if you zoom in here, you can see I can still get down into that storage area, even if I got somebody sitting next to me. You don't have to stop the vehicle and say, "Hey Pat, get out of here. I need to grab a pair of gloves from under the seat." So another cool way that our engineers thought through how you guys are going to use this product and how to really make it fit your lifestyle the best. You probably think I'm done. We've now talked through, we call it the southern hemisphere of the vehicle. So we talked through everything below, but there's still some cool features up top here. So Eric, as you come in here to the cab and hang out with me, you guys will notice we've been using this pretty convenient dome light to get camera light here in the shop. So you guys can see what's going on. This is also nice if you need to find that screwdriver that you dropped or you're just finishing up with a task at the end of the day and it's dark out. We've got interior lighting in the vehicle. What's new for this vehicle that will also be available for our other Ranger products but is new this year is we've got new accessory sun visors. So this is something you guys have been asking for a long time. Really simple, easy to add feature. But sun visors, you can add these to any vehicle. These don't come stock from the factory, but they're available in our PG&A catalog and are a really nice, convenient feature. The other one that's really nice is you obviously get a mirror like you're used to. This is a smaller mirror than we've typically run in these types of vehicles, but it's a really wide angle, and so we're seeing that the performance works really well. But this one's one of my favorite in the roof. We launched this feature on the Ranger XP1000 Trail Boss, mainly because we ran out of real estate for switches. We put too many features on these vehicles and we ran out of places to put switches for them. So we had to add some more real estate, and in the process, we uncovered the benefit, which is easy accessorization through this overhead switch panel. So the main benefit to you guys is if you want to go put 1 light bar or 4 light bars on your roof or other electrical accessories, we've got roof pulse in the rear of the roof liner, just like we do on our other products. And with this overhead switch panel, you can install a light bar up on your roof without ever fishing any wires anywhere. You just drop your roof liner, install your light bar. It's really easy. So that makes it really convenient. You know, for some of you guys like hunters and some ranchers that really want to get a bunch of light, just makes it easier. Last feature here in the roof is this is a sound deadening roof liner. We put this on all of our vehicles from the factory. Completes the overall look, but also really helps to insulate the sound in the cab and contributes to that really quiet riding experience. I've covered the front seat now. I probably haven't even been comprehensive. I think I've covered just about every feature on the front of this vehicle. But all of those things add up to really make this riding experience awesome. Now let's kick it back to Pat, and he's going to cover off on some of these same features that apply in the rear of the vehicle as well, because we know that that comfort is just as important for your passengers.
Hey, buddy. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome. Hop in.
Yeah. Well, I don't even need to hop in. The back, you know, you covered off everything in the front. The back's way easier. It's a very similar story. So starting out, we got a couple window switches here in the back for the electric windows on this model. We got a couple cup holders here, and if we flip down this middle, you'll see again, a couple cup holders here, spot for a phone here, spot for a phone here. You know, if you got people riding in the back that need a little juice, we got a spot for that too. If we flip that center up, we can also flip this kind of 40% of the seat up. I got room for a 5-gallon pail here and more, and another under seat storage here in the middle. The other cool thing, if I'm riding in the back, that is a little different maybe on this model, is we've actually got heat and AC vents here in the back, which if you've ever ridden in the back, you know, you get instantly cool or instantly warm. It's way better. And Chris, if you don't mind sliding that driver's seat forward, the other cool thing here is that when the driver moves forward, you can actually get that seat maybe even back a little, flush up to this, this cross brace bar, and you get a ton of room in the back for, you know, if you got tall people or if you want to throw some gear. So overall, you know, most comfortable back seat we've ever had in a Ranger, you know, tailored along with the most comfortable front we've ever had. Overall, fantastic interior on this rig. So Chris, I jumped up front because I think, you know, you spent tons of time covering everything there is to know.
I was up here for like 20 minutes.
At least, but there's one key feature you missed, my man.
What is it?
Heated seats, brother.
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite feature.
Dial it in on your ride command display, low, medium, high, or off. Wait a couple minutes, it'll warm you right up.
And a pro off-road tip, you know, a lot of people think that this is a winter feature. Well, if you're a hard-working Ranger owner, treat yourself to the heated seats year-round. You know, this vehicle's got awesome air conditioning. If you got a bad back, you're sore after a long day, crank up that AC, put on those heated seats, and enjoy the most comfortable Ranger ever made.
Yeah, so I think, you know, to cap this all off, right, we covered off on some of the features we covered in other episodes, went through the exterior, clearly 8 million things in the interior. Overall, I don't think we can stress enough. This vehicle is fantastic. It is quiet. It is wonderfully comfortable. These seats are, I mean, I can't say enough about them. Tooling around, I feel like I could spend the entire day in this new Ranger XD 1500. And with that, I think we're going to wrap this episode of Shop Talk. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see in the future.